Hello and welcome to your Daily Word.
Hi and welcome back. I'm Pastor David, and today I'd like to read from Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? This psalm is such a powerful psalm written by David. It speaks of a deep, absolute trust and confidence in God. Sometimes we think some people have it so good. Why am I always surrounded with problems and trials? Just because somebody is in relationship with God does not mean that they're not going to encounter problems or have people who come against them at times. In fact, David was very familiar with having enemies and those that sought to do him harm. And yet, he was still able to say, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" I would point out from what we just read that David said, "My light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" This is a very personal, very individual relationship that he is speaking about with God. God was his light. God was the one who would illumine his path. God was the one that would show him truth. God was the one who would direct his path. He is my salvation. He's the one who delivers me from all my problems. He's the one who will bring the solution that I need. He is the one that will take care of my enemies. Whom shall I fear? This is the confidence and the trust that comes about when you come to understand who God is by being in relationship with him. Now, David had some challenges. In verse 2 it says, "When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, my enemies, my foes, they stumbled and fell. Though an army may encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war may rise up against me, in this will I be confident." Now think about this for a moment. This is a man who spent a lot of his early life on the run from King Saul. He lived in the mountains and hid in the caves to get away from Saul and his army because Saul sought to take his life. And yet, because of an intimate relationship with God, he was able to say, "The Lord is my light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Even when the problems came, he goes on to say, "This one thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life." You see, the most important thing to David was to seek after God and to encounter his presence in his life. Oh, to experience the divine presence of God and be in that sense of relationship with him where you know that he has all things under control. David said this is the one thing he desired. This was the priority in his life, and this is what he was seeking after with all of his heart. He goes on in verse 5 to say, "For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret place of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He will set me high upon a rock." I want you to hear these words. In the time of trouble. Have you faced any trouble? Have you had some difficult challenges where it tempted your heart to fear? David said out of this relationship that he had with God, he said, "In the time of trouble, he will hide me in his pavilion. He will hide me in his tent. He will bring me into a place of safety where his presence is." You see, they who are in the shadow of the Lord, those who are dwelling in his pavilion and of his presence, they're not going to be fearful. David says there that he feels safe and secure. He's hidden away from the enemy there. It's in the secret place of his tabernacle, of his tent. Again, he will hide me. Then he says this, "And he shall set me high upon a rock." Oh, I want you to know something. When everything else is failing, when everything else is shifting sands, when it seems like there's nothing safe and secure, God takes us when we seek Him and His presence, and when we come to Him and abide in the shadow of His presence, God takes us and He puts us on a solid rock, a place of security, a place of sure-footedness. And that solid rock the Bible describes is Jesus Christ, the rock. Oh, on Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand, the songwriter wrote. I trust that today you know Jesus, that you know that He will watch over you, that He will care for you, and that more than anything, you desire and seek His presence. Because then you can say too with the psalmist, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Seek Him with all your heart. Seek His presence. Seek to know Him.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Come back tomorrow for the next Daily Word. God bless.